Hi everybody, welcome to part 3 of 3 for Green Eggs and Flam, and today we're going to talk about how to practice. To explore that idea, I want to start off by telling you my speech about how not to practice. So this happens, somebody tries this every year, and I don't mean somebody, I mean like several people try this every year and it never works. It's a natural instinct to look at a piece of music and try to practice it like you would read a book. So you start at the beginning and then you kind of work your way through. But we want to be able to perform it. And I'm not saying you can't start at the beginning, but the trap that I see people falling into very often is that they start from the beginning and they basically sight read as far as they can go until they make a mistake. And then they'll try to fix the mistake, maybe, but then they'll go back to the beginning and go until they make another mistake. And then they go back to the beginning, go until they make another mistake. Go back to the beginning, go until they make another mistake. So instead of working on the mistake itself and trying to improve that, we're just playing the piece until we can't play anymore and we go, dang it, I messed up. And then we go back to the beginning. And over a long period of time, what ends up happening is that the mistakes and the trouble spots and the corners and the sticky spots don't get any attention. And we've spent all of our time practicing the beginning. And we've spent all of our time practicing the music that we know that we can already play. We haven't spent any time working on the things that we can't play, which is really what practice is all about. So I want to talk to you today about some good habits to start building into your practice routine. Do small bits of music. Don't try to start from the beginning and just try to do a clean run and then get mad at yourself, because again, that just all that does is you practice the beginning and you know the beginning really, really well, and then you don't know the end at all, and you hate your solo. Is basically the result of that. So don't fall into that trap. It's just an easy trap to fall into. Practice small bits of music. Identify a couple of measures or even one measure or maybe even part of a measure that is tricky for you, and practice those sections under tempo with a metronome. And then over time you can start to increase the tempo and put larger bits of music together. So I'm going to pretend that I'm an 8th grader and I'm having a really hard time with I don't know, measures 5 and 6. Measures 5 and 6. So I'm practicing and I notice that once I get to measure 5 and 6, I'm having a bad time. So here's what I might do. Here's 5 and 6. Okay, now at this point, this is what separates good musicians from bad musicians, okay, and the way that they practice. A bad musician will go back to the beginning and try to get a running start at it again and again and again, okay? A good musician is going to take a look at 5 and 6 and go, okay, I'm just going to practice 5 and 6. We're going to work on that part. I still can't do it. Okay, so what do? I decrease the tempo. Okay, I'm going to go down a little bit. Okay, here's 60 beats a minute. Same two measures, measures 5 and 6. But let's say I'm still struggling with those double strokes. What can I do? I can isolate the double strokes. I can practice my 5-stroke rolls. I've got all of these tools that I can use to break things down. But don't just start from the beginning and try to play through and then decide that you can't do it and that you don't like it just because you can't sight read it. That's essentially what bad musicians do when they practice. They just put their music on a stand and they try to sight read the whole thing. And you can't do that. With something that's difficult, you have to isolate. You have to practice small bits of music. So that's what I would do. I would take out the double strokes if I needed to, so that I could do that at a slow tempo. Then I would put the double strokes back in. And then maybe gradually increase the tempo. Maybe get creative and reverse the sticking. Increase the tempo a bit more. And voila, there I am. And now I can put that back into context, okay? So I went from not being able to play it to being able to play it, okay? Not because of a magic trick or because I got better at sight reading from practicing the beginning of the song over and over again. No, I worked on what I needed to work on. So as you go through, it's important to identify the measures that are going to require a lot of practice and some of the ones that are not going to require a lot of practice. So for example, like, I know I mentioned some notation things, but like letter B to letter C, probably not going to require a ton of practice. I mean, it's just probably not going to require that much practice. So yeah, you need to learn it, you need to be able to play it, but you're not going to spend as much time on that as perhaps you would on some of the music with the 5-stroke rolls or the cheeses or the 9-stroke roll. So you need to identify those places that require more practice and identify, equally important to identify the places that don't need as much practice and prioritize your practice time based on that. I mentioned before, you can take away flams, you can take away doubles just to get hand speeds down, and then you can gradually put them back in. We can use small bits of music. We can use our metronome. Don't practice without one of these. Okay, you don't need a big fat one like I have, just a metronome. A metronome on your phone is fine. But use the tools that you have to break those things down and learn to play them correctly, rather than just, you know, all or nothing, like I can either play it or I can't, and if I can't play it, then why am I playing this solo? I don't like it anymore. You have the ability to get better, but you have to use the tools that are available to you. So just one more time, I just want to reiterate the idea that you don't play just the parts that you know. Once you get into it, you know, this is another thing I see people doing, not even by accident anymore, but I have people that, you know, they'll learn part of a solo and they'll like playing that part of the solo, and so they practice that over and over and over again just because it feels good, because it's something that they know that they can play, and they don't work on any of the new stuff. They don't work on any of the things that they can't play. And I just don't want anybody here to fall into that trap, because it's a dirty feeling being a couple of days away from contest and only being able to play half your solo because you didn't prioritize correctly. It's just a dirty, dirty feeling. I don't want that to happen to anybody. Have a system for how you practice and make small goals, okay? I have a high school student who's going to state solo and ensemble now for the 3rd year in a row, who every time she gets a new piece of music, she decides, okay, how many weeks does she have to prepare the piece? And when do I want to have all the notes learned by? And then she'll actually diagram out how many measures a day she needs to learn to meet that goal. And so there's a daily goal of, I have to learn 3 measures today. I have to learn 2 measures today. I have to learn 5 measures today, whatever it is. And that's a really, really good idea. You don't want to take this battle on head on and attack this piece head on, because you're going to lose that battle. Okay? Piece by piece, small goals, that's how it's going to happen for you. So if you have any questions, as always, I am available on Teams. If I don't answer you right away, I'll try to get to you within 24 hours or so. But I'm happy to help you with anything that you need. Have a good time with this piece. I think it's a fun solo, and I'll see you all after spring break. Have a good one.